Chapter 1. Beyond the Cloud. In the vast reaches of the Oort cloud, an ancient race known as the Anunnaki waited. They were the architects of Earth's greatest civilizations, having manipulated the DNA of primates to create humans, intended as a labor force and food source. Their influence had shaped history, with the pharaohs serving as their earthly emissaries. Now, after millennia of cultivating, they were poised to reclaim their dominion over Earth. From the edge of the abyss, the Anunnaki watched from afar. Silent shadows in the night skies heralded their return, an alien horde with eyes of fire driven by a dark, insatiable desire. This conquering force, long unseen, was now set to unleash its galactic horror upon the world. Their cosmic fleet, a spectral wave, waited patiently for their return to Earth, bringing with them doom and despair. The Oort cloud, a distant sphere of icy bodies encircling our solar system, had long been a source of mystery. Astronomers speculated about its origins and the secrets it might hold, but no one could have anticipated that it concealed the Anunnaki, an ancient race with a dark agenda. Their ships, massive and silent, lay in wait, poised to return to the cradle of their creation and harvest. In their path, there would be none left to save. Cities would fall and empires would crumble, leaving the helpless to tumble in their wake. The Anunnaki were more than myth. They were a tangible force that had shaped the course of human history. In ancient Sumer, they were revered as gods, bestowing knowledge and technology upon early civilizations. The pharaohs of Egypt, their chosen rulers, erected monumental structures to honor them, and their legacy endured in the annals of time. Yet, beneath the veneer of benevolence, the Anunnaki harbored a sinister purpose. The creation of humanity was not an act of divine generosity, but a calculated experiment. The Anunnaki's advanced genetic manipulation had transformed primitive primates into intelligent beings capable of serving their needs. Humans were designed to toil in the fields, mine precious resources, and, most importantly, provide sustenance for their creators. The Anunnaki's appetite for human flesh was insatiable, a dark secret hidden beneath the sands of time. Silent screams in the cold dark, alien whispers left their mark, hearts filled with fear, minds enslaved by the force from the Oort, depraved. The relationship between the Anunnaki and the ancient Egyptian pharaohs had been one of dominance and servitude, shrouded in layers of ritual and secrecy. Upon their initial arrival on Earth, the Anunnaki identified the fertile banks of the Nile as the perfect cradle for their earthly dominion. They chose the pharaohs, the most powerful rulers of the time, to act as their intermediaries. The pharaohs, in turn, were deified, their rule legitimized by their association with these so-called gods. The Anunnaki bestowed upon the pharaohs advanced knowledge and technology that far surpassed the capabilities of contemporary human civilizations. This included the secrets of construction and engineering that enabled the building of the pyramids. These monumental structures were not merely tombs, but sophisticated energy generators and portals designed to tap into the Earth's natural energies and the cosmic forces beyond. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, was aligned with certain stars and constellations, acting as a conduit for cosmic energy. The internal chambers and passageways were designed to amplify these energies, creating a powerful force field that could be harnessed by the Anunnaki. The pyramids were also capable of opening gateways to other dimensions, allowing the Anunnaki to travel between worlds and even to other sectors of the galaxy. The priests and ruling class of ancient Egypt were deeply intertwined with these rituals and technologies. They performed complex ceremonies to maintain the alignment of the pyramids and to ensure the continuous flow of energy. The priests were guardians of this sacred knowledge, passed down through generations, encoded in hieroglyphs, and hidden within the intricate designs of the temples. As time passed, the true purpose of the pyramids and the Anunnaki's technology became obscured by layers of myth and legend. The priests and pharaohs maintained their power through a careful balance of religious and technological authority, keeping the population in awe of their perceived divine connection. The Anunnaki, satisfied with their earthly setup, retreated to the Oort cloud, leaving behind a legacy that would shape human history. Millennia passed after the Anunnaki retreated to the Oort cloud, leaving their earthly dominion in the hands of the pharaohs. The world evolved, empires rose and fell, but the shadow of the Anunnaki lingered in the background. Ancient texts and myths spoke of their return, a prophecy that instilled both awe and dread. No escape from the cosmic dread. In their grip, all hope was dead. Alien reign, the cosmos wept. In the shadows, horrors crept. Fast forward to the present day, and the remnants of this ancient technology still resonate within the Earth. The scientists at CERN, driven by a desire to understand the fundamental forces of the universe, unknowingly tapped into these ancient energies. The Large Hadron Collider, with its powerful particle collisions, mimicked the cosmic alignments that the pyramids once facilitated. However, not all scientists at CERN were purely driven by the quest for knowledge. A secret sub-faction led by Amun Khepri, a direct descendant of Pharaoh Ramses II, had a different agenda. These scientists, custodians of the ancient secrets passed down through millennia, had infiltrated CERN with the sole intent of contacting the Anunnaki. They believed that by reactivating the ancient portal, they could summon their forebears and restore the pharaonic dominion on Earth. This sub-faction worked in the shadows, manipulating data and subtly guiding the experiments towards their intended goal. They understood the ancient rituals and cosmic alignments necessary to open the gateway. As the collider reached its peak, a resonance was achieved, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern. The portal that opened was not a new creation, but a reawakening of a gateway that had lain dormant for millennia. The Anunnaki, attuned to these cosmic frequencies, sensed the disturbance and prepared for their return. On their ships, the Anunnaki received the signal they had awaited for millennia. They activated their ancient engines, and the waiting vessels roared to life. The Anunnaki's return was no longer a matter of myth and prophecy. It was a terrifying reality. The Anunnaki were coming, and with them, the pharaohs would rise once more. The time for dominion had arrived, and humanity's greatest fears were about to be realized. The prologue to the ancient game had been written, and the story of the Anunnaki's return was about to unfold in a saga of darkness, despair, and ultimate sacrifice. Chapter 2. The Particle. Deep beneath the Earth's embrace, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN hummed with relentless energy. In this vast subterranean labyrinth, scientists pursued the ultimate quest for knowledge, driven by a desire to unlock the secrets of the universe. Protons clashed in a fiery dance, each collision a step closer to understanding the fundamental nature of reality. These high-energy collisions were not just about particles, they were about uncovering the mysteries of existence itself. Amun Khepri, who unbeknownst to his colleagues, was a direct descendant of Pharaoh Ramses II, and his group manipulated the collider's settings to achieve their own ends. They subtly altered experiments, ensuring the alignment of energies and forces necessary to breach the veil between worlds. Khepri led these efforts with a calculated precision born of both ancient ritual and modern science. Their cult understood the ancient rituals and cosmic alignments necessary to open the gateway. During what was to be a routine particle collision test, Dr. Alex Turner stood in the control room of the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, staring at the data streaming across multiple screens. The hum of the collider beneath the Earth's surface resonated with his heartbeat, a constant reminder of the relentless pursuit of knowledge that had driven him his entire life. Recent anomalies in the collider's data had left him uneasy. These weren't the usual glitches. They hinted at something far more profound and unsettling. Emma, his partner and fellow scientist at CERN, joined him. Her presence was a comforting constant in the chaotic environment of groundbreaking research. They had navigated countless challenges together, but the anomalies they were witnessing now were unlike anything they had encountered before. The data showed strange fluctuations in the energy levels of the particles being collided. At first, Alex thought it was a technical glitch, but as the anomalies persisted, a growing sense of dread settled over him. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of discovering something far beyond their understanding. While reviewing the data, Alex stumbled upon a series of encrypted files buried deep within CERN's mainframe. With Emma's help, they managed to decrypt the files, revealing shocking information about a secret sub-faction within CERN. Led by Amun Kepri, this group had been manipulating the Collider's experiments to open a portal to another dimension. The realization hit Alex like a physical blow. CERN's machine wasn't just a tool for scientific discovery, it was the key to unleashing an ancient power. As Alex delved deeper into the files, he uncovered details about ancient rituals and cosmic alignments that the sub-faction had been using to guide their experiments. The Collider's powerful particle collisions mimicked the cosmic alignments that the pyramids once facilitated. It became clear that Amun Kepri and his followers were not just scientists. They were modern-day priests of an ancient order, bent on summoning their ancient masters. Alex's revelation forced him to confront Amun Kepri. The two stood in the Collider's vast control room, surrounded by the hum of technology and the weight of millennia-old secrets. "What have you done?" Alex demanded, his voice echoing in the chamber. Amun Kepri turned, a cold smile playing on his lips. "We have opened the gateway," he said, his eyes gleaming with a mix of triumph and madness. "The Anunnaki will return, and with them, the pharaohs will rise once more." The revelation was staggering. Alex had always been driven by the pursuit of knowledge, but now he faced the horrifying realization that his work had been co-opted for a far darker purpose. The Collider, which he had believed to be a beacon of scientific progress, was now a harbinger of doom. As protons clashed in their fiery dance, Amun Kepri and his high priests performed hidden rituals, combining their scientific expertise with esoteric knowledge. They whispered incantations in forgotten languages, their words weaving through the hum of the Collider. These invocations were designed to resonate with the cosmic frequencies that the Anunnaki had once harnessed, ensuring the portal would open as intended. In the Collider's heart, chaos reigned as energy was unleashed, breaking chains that bound our understanding of reality. Quantum dreams and nightmares blended in the void, where worlds transcended ordinary experience, and, after millennia, finally revealing the mystery of the God particle. Chapter 3. The Key. In the heart of CERN's scientific quest lay the path to humanity's unrest. The portal, the key to the Anunnaki's return, had been a gateway to an ancient dread. Entities from worlds long dead, from the void of nightmares, were to roam the earth once again. The descendants of Ramses II, led by Amun Kepri, who had orchestrated this resurgence, stood by their masters, ready to enforce their will with an iron fist. In the heart of science's quest lay the path to unrest, with entities of ancient dread rising from the worlds of the dead. CERN's domain was a realm where particles collided, where the boundaries of quantum realms were pushed and the mysteries of the cosmos were unveiled. The men and women working here were on the cutting edge of science, delving into the very fabric of space-time. Yet, beneath the surface of this noble quest, a darker force was at play. This secret sub-faction had infiltrated CERN with an agenda that went far beyond scientific curiosity. These individuals were aware of ancient texts, the stories told of demons rising from the old. They believed these demons, referenced throughout history, were in fact ancient aliens, the Anunnaki. The Collider's hum was a symphony of technological marvels and human ambition. Protons, accelerated to near-light speeds, clashed in spectacular fashion, creating mini Big Bangs within the confines of the collider. These collisions were intended to reveal the secrets of the particle, a key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. The particle was more than just a scientific discovery. It was the key to a portal, a gateway to the unknown. CERN's machine was the portal's key, and it was about to unleash hell for all to see. The collider roared to life, its energies clashing with the portal's burgeoning force. The room shook as the portal began to stabilize, its edges flickering and collapsing. The unknowing scientists at CERN, once celebrating their triumphs, now faced the grim reality of their actions. A door had been opened that could not be closed, unleashing a force that threatened to consume the world. Desperation set in as they attempted to shut down the collider, but it was too late. The portal was stable, and the Anunnaki High Order stepped through, their numbers growing with each passing moment. In the shadows of ancient Mesopotamian myths, the Anunnaki were envisioned as towering, malevolent deities, their forms striking terror into the hearts of mortals. Cloaked in dark, flowing robes that whispered with the winds of the underworld, their eyes glowed like smoldering coals, piercing through the gloom. Their skin was etched with the scripts of forgotten languages, and their hands ended in talon-like fingers, capable of manipulating the fate of civilizations. These beings exuded an aura of ominous power, with headdresses adorned with twisted horns and skulls, symbolizing their dominion over life and death. Ancient tales of demons, now aliens, now here, incarnate. CERN's domain, where particles collided, had become a gateway for forces that humanity dared to know. Aliens or demons, as these creatures were once thought, the ancient lore was coming to life as they poured through the gateway, tearing space and summoning the fallen race. From the rift emerged the Anunnaki, ancient beings from the Oort cloud, long woven into the fabric of human myths and legends. The ancient prophecies had foreseen this doom, and technology had become a wicked scheme. Particle collisions tore open the nightmare's lair, summoning entities of ancient dread from the void's abyss. These secrets, long concealed in darkened mist, were now revealed. Elders knew the truth, concealed in the shadows, now revealed through the portal. The sky darkened as the Anunnaki's ships materialized over the skies of Earth, their technology far surpassing anything humanity had ever conceived. The arrival of these ancient beings marked the beginning of the end. Alex and Emma watched in horror as the invaders spread across the globe, their ships casting ominous shadows over the land. The once bustling metropolises of Earth were now graveyards. The Anunnaki moved methodically, their advanced weaponry neutralizing any resistance. The pharaohs wielded dark arts, casting spells that disoriented and incapacitated human forces. The invaders were relentless, their dark desire for domination manifesting in every action. People fled in terror, but there was no escape from the cosmic dread. In the grip of the Anunnaki, all hope seemed dead. The ancient game had begun, and the Anunnaki's dark empire was rising. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as the invaders from the Oort cloud reclaimed their dominion, turning the key to a portal that bridged millennia of terror and subjugation. The future was bleak, and the shadow of the Anunnaki loomed over the world, casting a pall of despair and dread. The human spirit, once resilient, now struggled under the weight of an ancient prophecy brought to life. Chapter 4: The Return. The activation of CERN's device, the Large Hadron Collider, marked the birth of a portal that ripped the veil between dimensions, connecting Earth with a realm long forgotten. As the rift opened, ancient beings from a distant past began to rise, their forms shrouded in the dark disguise of Egypt's rulers. The Anunnaki, gods of old, had returned. From the rift, the ancients emerged, their presence heralded by a chilling wind that swept through CERN's subterranean chambers. These ancient ones, hailing from distant sands, returned to Earth with the intention to reclaim their dominion, ruling with iron hands. The portal's opening was not just a scientific achievement, but a decree of fate, signaling the dawn of a new era filled with uncertainty and dread. The Anunnaki's return was both a fulfillment of prophecy and a harbinger of doom. Their towering ships, now fully materialized from the portal, cast long shadows over the land. As they descended, the ancient pharaohs who had once ruled under their guidance stepped forth, their power vast and undiminished by the passage of millennia. These pharaohs, enigmatic figures of grand design, symbolized the sealing of humanity's fate under a darkened sign. Ancient texts had spoken of beings rising from the depths, their return heralding an era of dark dominion. The world trembled as these ancient rulers, once thought to be myth, reclaimed their thrones. With the portal open, fate's decree was set into motion, and the true nature of their return remained a mystery, a shadowed enigma that left humanity questioning what would come next. Cities trembled and empires fell as the Anunnaki's forces spread across the globe. The ancient call to submission echoed through the air, compelling nations to bow. Human souls were harvested, their lives offered as sacrifices to fuel the Anunnaki's dark devices. The invaders moved with purpose, systematically dismantling human civilization and repurposing its remnants for their own ends. In the chaos, the true purpose of the Anunnaki's return remained a mystery. The portal had opened a gateway not only to their world, but also to a destiny that was obscured by shadows. The ancients from distant sands, now back to rule, seemed to operate under a prophecy that none could decipher. Their grip tightened as they established their rule, leaving humanity to grapple with the profound betrayal and the looming question of what lay ahead. Dr. Alex Turner stood at the heart of CERN, grappling with the realization that the device he had dedicated his life to had become the key to humanity's downfall. The Anunnaki's presence was overwhelming, their technology and dark arts beyond anything he had ever encountered. His partner, Emma, shared his despair, but they knew they couldn't give up. They had to find a way to counteract the chaos they had inadvertently unleashed. The world's greatest cities, once bustling with life and innovation, now lay in ruins. The Anunnaki, with their superior technology and ancient wisdom, had reduced these metropolises to rubble. In the wreckage, survivors whispered of secrets and prophecies, of ancient texts that hinted at this very apocalypse. Yet, the clarity of these prophecies eluded them, hidden beneath layers of cryptic messages and forgotten lore. Amun Kepri, now fully aligned with the Anunnaki, played a crucial role in the subjugation. He wielded both ancient and modern knowledge, enforcing the will of his extraterrestrial masters. These pharaohs, resurrected and empowered, were more than just leaders. They were the physical embodiment of the Anunnaki's return and the dark future they heralded. Alex and Emma knew they had to confront Amun Kepri. Their initial confrontation had revealed the depths of his madness, but now they understood the full extent of his power. He was not just a brilliant physicist. He was a master of dark arts, a conduit for the Anunnaki's will. As they planned their next move, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that their destinies were intertwined in ways he was only beginning to understand. As the Anunnaki consolidated their power, they began to implement their grand design. The Earth's resources were harvested with ruthless efficiency, gold being a primary target. This precious metal, crucial for their advanced technologies, was stripped from banks, temples, and reserves. Humans were not only enslaved, but also subjected to horrific experiments, their bodies and souls repurposed for the Anunnaki's inscrutable goals. As the Anunnaki continued their relentless advance, the once vibrant cities became centers of despair. The alien rulers established their reign with ruthless efficiency, and the remnants of human civilization struggled to survive under their oppressive rule. The portal at CERN remained active, a constant reminder of the bridge between worlds that had unleashed this nightmare. In the ruins, whispers of ancient prophecies persisted. Survivors clung to the hope that these prophecies might hold the key to ending the Anunnaki's reign, but deciphering their cryptic messages was a daunting task. The ancient texts spoke of cycles of return and departure, hinting at a way to disrupt the Anunnaki's hold, but the knowledge required to enact such a plan seemed lost to time. The portal at CERN, once a beacon of scientific achievement, had become a symbol of humanity's greatest failure. It was a constant reminder of the hubris that had led to the world's downfall. The Anunnaki, with their advanced technology and ancient wisdom, had turned humanity's greatest triumph into its greatest defeat. The Anunnaki's reign was absolute. Their technology and dark arts left humanity with little hope of resistance. The pharaohs, resurrected and empowered, enforced their rule with an iron fist. The landscape of the world was irrevocably changed, a stark testament to the Anunnaki's dominance. In this new world order, the purpose behind the Anunnaki's return remained a mystery. The portal had opened a gateway not only to their world, but also to a destiny that was obscured by shadows. These ancients from distant sands, now back to rule, seemed to operate under a prophecy that none could decipher. Their grip tightened as they established their rule, leaving humanity to grapple with the profound betrayal and the looming question of what lay ahead. Chapter 5. Harvest. From the distant reaches of the Oort cloud, the Anunnaki had arrived, ancient beings who had lain dormant for eons, now alive and reclaiming their dominion over Earth. These beings, woven into the fabric of human myths and legends, had returned with a singular purpose. The Anunnaki were not mere figments of ancient imagination. They were real, and their return heralded the fulfillment of a plan that had been in motion for millennia. The Anunnaki were the true masters behind the pharaoh's reign in ancient Egypt. These overlords brought advanced technology and arcane knowledge to early civilizations, crafting humanity's DNA to serve their insatiable greed. The human seed was not a natural evolution, but a grand design, a carefully orchestrated manipulation of primate strands to create a species that would serve the Anunnaki's purposes. The time had come for the harvest, a grim reminder of humanity's origin and ultimate purpose. It became clear that the Anunnaki had no intention of coexistence. They had returned to claim what they believed was rightfully theirs. Earth's resources, both material and biological, were ripe for the taking. The Anunnaki's technology, far superior to anything humanity had ever conceived, made resistance futile. The sky was filled with their ships, casting a shadow over a world teetering on the brink of destruction. Theirs was singular purpose: to harvest. Gold, the metal that powered their vast machines and technologies, was stripped from every corner of the globe. Every single source of gold was looted with ruthless efficiency. The process of harvesting gold was methodical and ruthless. The Anunnaki deployed advanced machinery that could strip the precious metal from the earth with unmatched efficiency. The landscape was transformed as entire regions were excavated, leaving behind scars on the planet's surface. The harvested gold was transported to their ships, where it would be used to fuel their technology and sustain their civilization. But the Anunnaki's greed extended beyond gold. They sought human souls. Billions of people bred over millennia were now to serve as sustenance for these ancient overlords. Humanity itself had been bred for a darker purpose. The Anunnaki viewed humans as a carefully cultivated food source designed to meet their nutritional needs. This macabre revelation sent waves of horror and despair through the remnants of human civilization. People were rounded up like cattle, their lives reduced to mere commodities in the eyes of their alien overlords. The sight of humanity being rounded up and processed for consumption was a darkened spectacle that seared itself into the memories of the survivors. The Anunnaki were the architects of humanity's genetic makeup. They had intertwined primate strands, creating a grand design that ensured humans would serve their needs. This return was not just a reclamation of resources, but a reaping of a carefully cultivated crop. Under darkened skies, humanity's fate was sealed. These ghouls had come to feast and to claim the prize they had long awaited. Their control over humanity was absolute. They utilized advanced technology to track, capture, and process their human prey. The process was efficient and devoid of empathy. People were herded into processing centers, where they were systematically stripped of their individuality and reduced to sustenance. The cries of the desperate and the smell of fear filled the air. In the shadows of this new world order, secrets of ancient ties were revealed. The Anunnaki's influence had never truly waned. It had merely lain dormant, waiting for the right moment to reassert itself. The payment due for humanity's creation was steep. Gold and blood, the lifeblood of civilizations past and present. These were the currencies that fueled the Anunnaki's empire, a debt humanity had never known it owed until it was too late. Masters of the pharaoh's reign, the Anunnaki now walked openly among their creations. They were the bringers of technology's gain, and their advanced knowledge had been both a gift and a curse. DNA crafted by their hands had given rise to humanity, but it had also bound humans to a destiny of servitude. The Anunnaki's ever-looming greed knew no bounds as they enforced their dominion. Resistance was futile. Alex and Emma, driven by a desperate need to atone for their role in this catastrophe, became key figures in the struggle to decipher the prophecies. They worked tirelessly, poring over ancient texts and modern data alike, searching for any clue that could help humanity turn the tide. Their journey was fraught with danger, but they pressed on, knowing that the fate of the world depended on their success. Amidst this chaos, Alex and Emma were separated. The invasion had been swift and brutal, leaving little time for preparation or resistance. Alex's primary concern was finding Emma and ensuring her safety, but the overwhelming force of the Anunnaki made this a near impossible task. He navigated the ruins of their world, driven by the hope that Emma was still alive, while evading capture and seeking out any sign of her. As Alex continued his desperate search for Emma, he stumbled upon one of the processing centers. The sight was nightmarish. Rows of humans, stripped of their individuality, were being prepared for consumption. The cries of the desperate and the smell of fear filled the air. Alex's heart ached with both horror and a renewed determination. He knew he had to find a way to stop this, to save as many as he could, driven by his need to find Emma and the realization of what humanity was truly facing. In the midst of this chaos, the true extent of the Anunnaki's power was revealed. They were not mere conquerors. They were the ultimate overlords, wielding technology and knowledge that spanned galaxies. Their grand design, obscured by the passage of time, was now laid bare. The harvest was the culmination of their plans, and humanity was powerless to stop it. The ancient ties that bound humanity to the Anunnaki would not degrade. These bonds were forged in the fires of creation, tempered by millennia of silent influence. The consequences were being exacted in full measure, and there was no escaping the fate that had been decreed eons ago. The gods, once worshipped and revered, had returned to collect their due. Humanity's spirit, once resilient and defiant, was now crushed under the weight of despair. The ancient game had reached its zenith, and the players were relentless in their pursuit of total domination. Chapter 6. Anguish They Feed. The Anunnaki's return had plunged the world into an abyss of darkness, their dominion turning days into an unending night. Earth was laid waste under their rule, and the remnants of humanity were subjected to unimaginable torment. Under this knife, the survivors endured years of suffering, driven to the brink of madness by their relentless oppressors. They stripped the earth bare, leaving no resource untapped in their quest for energy. The once vibrant planet was reduced to a barren shell, its lifeblood drained to sustain the alien invaders. Humanity's end was marked by the relentless feeding of the Anunnaki on their Anguish, a dark feast that perpetuated the cycle of pain and despair. The alien overlord's presence was a darkened blight upon the land, and in their wake, only sorrow grew. The full horror of their purpose became clear. Humanity had been cultivated as livestock, bred as living meat for their dark feasts. The pharaohs, acting as the enforcers of this new order, were the embodiment of the apocalypse. They ruled with absolute authority, ensuring that the Anunnaki's will was carried out without question. The survivors, hiding in the ruins, could do little but remember and mourn. Meanwhile, Amun-Kepri, leader of the secretive group that had opened the portal, had descended into madness. Driven by his desire for power and control, he had become a murderous cannibal, feasting on the flesh of those who opposed him. His mind twisted by dark knowledge and the influence of the Anunnaki, Amun exerted draconian control, enforcing the will of his extraterrestrial masters with ruthless efficiency. The survivors clung to memories of a world that once was, even as they faced the grim reality of their existence. The end was near, and the will to fight had been all but extinguished. The ancient game had reached its darkest hour, and humanity's fate was sealed in an endless night of suffering and despair. Despite the overwhelming odds, Alex clung to the hope that he could find Emma and uncover a way to thwart the Anunnaki's plans. He knew that if there was any chance of saving humanity, it lay in understanding the prophecies and using the very knowledge that had brought their doom. In his mind, the ancient game was far from over, and Alex Turner was determined to change the rules. Driven by his need to find Emma and fueled by the horror of the Anunnaki's true purpose, Alex began to orchestrate small acts of defiance. He gathered fragments of the scattered resistance, sharing his knowledge and plans. Together, they launched daring raids on the processing centers, freeing captives and sabotaging the alien operations whenever possible. He worked tirelessly to understand their technology and the ancient prophecies that might hold the key to their defeat. The resistance, though fragmented and weakened, began to coalesce around Alex's leadership, finding in him a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. Battle-worn and weary, the remnants of humanity began to gather, clinging to the faintest glimmers of resistance. They had faced the Anunnaki's might and survived, but their spirits were battered and their numbers dwindled. The survivors knew that if they were to reclaim their world, they would need to harness the very forces that had brought their doom. Chapter 7. Horizon. Years of torment under the Anunnaki's oppressive rule had pushed humanity to the brink of despair. The endless strife, the subjugation, and the ceaseless suffering had forged a resolve in the remnants of the human race. In the shadows of a broken world, hope was rekindled. The battle-worn survivors, once scattered and hopeless, began to coalesce around a singular, desperate plan to end the Anunnaki's reign once and for all, even if it meant sacrificing everything. CERN was again the key, as it was before. The very gateway that had brought the Anunnaki back to Earth might now be repurposed to bring about their doom. Ancient texts and hidden secrets buried within the ruins of CERN provided the survivors with the knowledge they needed. The more Alex delved into the ancient texts and prophecies, the more he realized that the answer might lie in the very same technology that had opened the portal to the alien horde. The key was to find a way to reverse the process, to destroy the gateway and annihilate all. He realized that by reversing the gears and harnessing the collider's immense power, they could create a black hole, an act of ultimate sacrifice that would erase the tyrants, destroy any chance of their subjugating any other species, and leave no trace of their reign. But time was running out, and the Anunnaki's grip on the planet tightened with each passing day. The plan was audacious and fraught with peril. To create a black hole meant to embrace death itself. It would mean the end of not just the enemy, but also Earth, the solar system, and all of humanity. Yet, faced with the unending torment and the certainty of their extinction under Anunnaki rule, The survivors saw this as their only path to freedom. In the heart of CERN, the survivors worked tirelessly. They reversed the gears of the collider, re-engineering it to unleash a power so vast it could consume everything in its path. The collider, once a beacon of scientific progress, was now a harbinger of annihilation. The survivors' determination grew with each passing day, fueled by the memories of lost loved ones. As the preparations neared completion, the gravity of their actions weighed heavily on the survivors. They knew that their sacrifice would end the reign of terror, but it would also mean the end of their own existence. Yet, in this ultimate act of defiance, they found a sense of purpose and a glimmer of hope. Alex's drive was further fueled by the desperate need to find Emma, who had been captured weeks ago. In a daring raid on one of the human stock processing centers, Alex finally found Emma. She was on the brink of being consumed, and the sight of her in such peril ignited a fierce determination within him. Fighting through the chaos, Alex managed to rescue Emma from the clutches of the grinders, saving her from a gruesome fate. Reunited, they returned to CERN to set the plan in motion and finish the deed. As the day of reckoning arrived, the black hole, crafted through the collider's immense power, began to form. Its deathly embrace was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The Anunnaki, sensing the unprecedented surge of energy, converged on CERN, but it was too late. The portal that had once served as their gateway now became their doom. As the black hole's gravitational pull intensified, the Anunnaki were torn apart, their ships and technology consumed by the singularity. The pharaohs, the enforcers of the aliens' rule, were no match for the raw force of the black hole. The dark, consuming void devoured everything, including the remnants of human civilization. Inexorably devoured at the event horizon was Amun Kepri, whose descent into madness had marked him as one of humanity's most terrifying enemies. As the black hole's pull intensified, Amun was strained through the singularity, ripped apart limb from limb, atom by atom. His once powerful form disintegrated in the void, a fitting end for a man who had betrayed his species for power. His cries of agony echoed through the collapsing space-time, a final testament to his fall. Earth's demise was also a foregone conclusion, but it was a price the survivors were willing to pay. In the final moments, as the black hole reached its full potential, a profound silence fell over the battlefield. The screams of the dying Anunnaki and the cries of despair were silenced. In the void, all were torn apart, leaving nothing behind. Human courage, forged in the fires of suffering, shone brightly in these last moments. Their valiant hearts had driven them to this ultimate sacrifice, a testament to their indomitable spirit. In those last moments, Alex and Emma found each other amidst the chaos. They held each other tightly, knowing that their sacrifice would bring an end to the anguish. Their final moments were filled with a bittersweet peace, knowing that their actions would free the galaxy from the ancient evil that had plagued it. They whispered their final words, finding solace in each other as the black hole consumed them. Galactic silence followed the cataclysm. The black hole, having consumed the Earth and its inhabitants, left a void in its wake. The Oort cloud invaders' reign was ended, their dark empire obliterated by the very beings they had sought to enslave. In the darkness, peace was restored, not through the survival of life, but through the end of all conflict. The survivors' sacrifice had ensured that the Anunnaki would never rise again. Life as they knew it was erased, but in this act of ultimate defiance, the spirits of humanity were set free. The galaxy was rid of the ancient evil that had plagued it, and the echoes of human bravery would resonate through the void for eternity. The ancient game had reached its final move. The black hole, death's embrace, had ended all. The sacrifice was complete, and the game was over. Humanity, in its final act, had reclaimed its destiny, ensuring that the Anunnaki's dark influence would never again cast its shadow over the cosmos. Once the ancient game itself, humanity had brought about the end of the ancient game.